So it's your brother Bolo V&R, and this topic that I'm going to cover right now is not necessarily something that I dive into much. It's not the regular topic over here. But I always keep telling people, you see, what happens in America affects this region as well. They have a saying, if America catch cold, we got pneumonia. All right. So this is a excerpt from Candice Owens, where she did a deep dive into Kamala Harris's real life, facts and evidence type vibe. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. She said starting soon. Wow, she going way back with it. This is
All right, we are late today, but I promise you I'm going to make it worth the wait. First and foremost, Black America has spoken. I have been laughing since yesterday, looking through all of your comments pertaining to Kamala Harris washing greens in her bathtub. So disgusting. We're going to get to some of those comments later to make us laugh a bit. But first, we have to get to this. I came across another explosive revelation pertaining to Kamala Harris's ancestry, and I am not kidding. If after this, the media does not completely stop trying to sell her as a Black woman to us, I'm going to have to participate in one of these CNN-type peaceful protests. That's all I'm saying. So
Yo, I swear Candice Owens is a savage.
That is funny, honey.
And I'm talking about in the intellectually savage way.
Funny.
All right.
let's just jump right into this and get started. Welcome back to Candice.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we're going to go through a lot of this slowly because I want you guys to be able to process this. It's a lot of names, it's a lot of moving parts, and we're going to show you the charts so that you can follow along. So where to begin? Okay. It has long been a conspiracy theory that democracy is really just...
Hey, shout out to the likes. Thanks for the support. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what's up. Remember to like and share the video, man. I'm doing a raw reaction right now. This will be posted. Yes, Lord.
It's an illusion that there's just kind of these forces that are really controlling everything, that presidents and political leaders around the world are really just being bred, essentially, that their background stories are created and then they're just sort of injected into the political scene. Doesn't matter whether or not you believe that or don't believe that. I just wanted to tell you that this is not a new thing. This is not a new conspiracy theory. So I'm now quite obsessed with the curious case of Donald J. Harris, obviously. Kamala notably has an estranged relationship with him. He's said that, she has said that, and we know for a fact that he was a committed communist, and he also married a woman who was similarly a committed communist. That is incredibly relevant, okay? So I decided to obsessively revisit his piece that he wrote, Reflections of a Jamaican Father. And this time I was like, I'm going...
Jamaica, you see why this is relevant? Kamala Harris' father was Jamaican. The book that she's talking about, that she revisited. Let's continue.
Going to fully commit myself to finding out as much as I can about every single line of this piece, particularly, of course, pertaining to his missing mother. That's Beryl, Grandma Beryl, and his grandmother, Iris Finnegan, her great-grandmother that she was posted up with. And so I'm going to pull up this chart now so that you guys can follow along, okay? So we see Donald Harris.
Wait. I need to downsize myself so we can see the chart properly. Everybody, not just me. Wait a minute. Y'all give me a second. This she went into the family tree. Lord have mercy. I heard about this, but Candice, you gotta chill, bruh. Damn, Candice. Let me see if I got this thing situated in a way where you guys can see it properly. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, wait a minute, let me see. Okay, yeah. Right there's good. Let's continue.
And above him, we know that his father is Oscar Joseph Harris. And then we've drawn this line across to Beryl Christie Finnegan. We just can't seem to find outside of that picture of her next to Kamala Harris, okay? And then, of course, above Oscar Joseph, we are told that his parents are Joseph Alexander and Christiana, Miss Chrissy Brown. So let's actually start, by the way, in the corner there, we have Iris Allen Finnegan. That's Beryl's mother, okay? That is the one that Kamala is pictured with on her lap. She's a baby. Donald says that he photographed that photo of them sometime in the 60s, shortly after Kamala.
See, I've heard about this. I want you guys to take this picture in. because this is going to be important as far as I know. Take that picture in. Listen to this.
Okay, that is the one that Kamala is pictured with on her lap. She's a baby. Donald says that he photographed that photo of them sometime in the 60s, shortly after Kamala was born. That is our Iris Finnegan. And I said, I'm going to start with her. I'm going to obsessively read this piece. He writes that she is Iris Nay Finnegan. He writes incredibly affectionately about her. What we know is that Iris was born Aura Iris Allen. Okay, it's important for you guys to remember that her maiden name is Allen. But we can't find her anywhere in the Jamaican newspaper archives. Donald tells us in his piece that her ancestry is just completely unknown to him. So he has no idea who this woman, who he alleges had one of the greatest impacts upon his life. He has no idea where she descends from.
That is super strange. How is this person so important to you, but you don't know jack-ish about them? Hey, Sharon, you gotta catch your replay. Listen, I'm 2 hours and 13 minutes in. You gotta go back. I'm trying to tell you. You gotta go back to get the meat and potatoes of the main part of the live. What I'm doing right now is called extras. Alright, because I got time before I gotta go to work.
We also find it a bit off-putting that he doesn't mention her husband by name. He simply calls him Mr. Christie. That would be his grandfather. Just one mentioned, Mr. Christie, pardon. And guess what? We also could not find her husband, whose name is Patrick Finnegan, anywhere in the newspapers. It's odd because he tells us that they own a farm. He tells us that together, Iris Allen and her husband, Mr. Christie, who we believe should be Patrick Finnegan, he tells us that they own and operate an entire sugarcane farm. So surely I should be able to locate them in the newspapers.
You know why that's a fact? Because sugarcane was one of the biggest businesses in the 60s? And they can't find nothing about them in the newspaper.
Something not right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
Hey, shout out to resilience.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Something ain't right, bro. Something ain't right.
Business section, selling, buying something, but no, I could not. I want to be clear, that doesn't mean that we could not find them at all. These people do exist. I can definitively tell you guys that Iris Finnegan did in fact exist. She just didn't own the farm. She worked it. She was an agricultural laborer, okay? So how do we know that Iris Finnegan was an agricultural laborer and not a farm owner? Because of her son, Noel Pendergast. He listed her as an agricultural laborer on his documents for him to come into the United States because he was coming into work as an
Like and share the video, y'all. Like and share. How long could y'all hear me? Okay, I'll find out.
agricultural laborer. So I'm showing you those documents. Again, this is her son, Noel Finnegan. And you see it says, who is your mother?
I was zooming up the document on my screen to really look at it. So I saw Kingston, Jamaica. I saw all of that. Yeah.
Writes down Iris Finnegan, and they ask what her occupation is. And he writes an agricultural laborer. Okay. So that is incredibly strange, I guess. First and foremost, if your parents owned a sugarcane farm, why would you travel to America for agricultural work on someone else's farm? I feel very deeply in my soul that he, and I'm referring now to Donald Harris, doesn't want us to look too far into this. He doesn't
Something not
want
right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right.
Something ain't right,
Tell
bro.
about
I'm
them.
telling you, bro. That how you own a farm and go exactly like what? What? A sugar farm in the 60s, dude? That's money. Owning a sugar farm in the 60s, you're talking about slavery. Yo, that's money. That's money. Sugar business in Jamaica was the biggest business in that time. How, Sway? How? Make that make sense.
Us to know who his true grandfather is. That's why he just refers to him as Mr. Christie. It's likely not Patrick Finnegan. And of course, we should be looking further into why it is that every time we look up any of these people who he is telling us in this piece owned stuff, they owned stuff and operated things, it turns out that they were just workers. We also were able to confirm, I'm just taking you guys jogging memory, that Iris did in fact birth Beryl Finnegan. We found Beryl Finnegan's birth certificate. We know that Iris Allen is in fact her mother because she is correctly listed on that birth certificate. But oddly, we then find that Beryl too is listed as just a barmaid on her marriage certificate. Her marriage certificate, by the way, as we determined earlier, to a Lawford Newland, who similarly we saw was traveling into the United States as a laborer looking for work. What is going on here? Does this family have money? Do they not have money? Well, I'll remind you, by the way.
Why are all these inconsistencies, bruh? What is going on? What the hell? Man, that's crazy.
That I spoke to Donald Harris's brother, and he told me that all of the kids had businesses that were handed to them by their father, Oscar Harris. That Donald and his two other siblings, were handed businesses. So what's happening here? Again, do they have money? Do they not have money? This is getting confusing. So I decided that it was my duty to help Donald Harris with his genealogy. I wanted to help him determine who exactly Iris Finnegan was and why he doesn't know her ancestry. And I thought that the easiest way to determine it would be to look up some records for sugar plantations, because obviously if you're owning a sugar farm, there just has to be some sort of a record for how you inherited it, right? Because we know these were initially plantations that had slaves, and I'm sorry, you weren't just casually putting together a sugar plantation and not having to have any documents whatsoever.
Shout out to Candice Owens for doing her due diligence. She is on the money. I'm trying to tell you, there had to be slaves. There had to be records. This was big business. How in the world can't you find what? This don't make no sense, bruh.
He lists in his piece that she worked on the Thatch sugarcane farm. Strangely, I could not find a record of the Thatch Walk sugarcane farm that he listed. I did, however, find a Thatch Hill sugarcane farm, and that was in the exact same St. Anne parish in Jamaica, but the owner of that farm was listed as an Eliza Brown. Brown. Now you're going Brown. Wait, why does that sound familiar?
I was just saying that St. Anne coming up a lot in I was on mute. St. Anne coming up a lot in everything on the media. Like that parish, like the tsunami, everything, St. Anne is coming up a lot. Bob Marley is from St. Anne too. Yeah.
Familiar to me. What's wrong with that? Because that's the last name of the other side of Donald J. Harris's family. So something doesn't feel right here. Again, let's just pull up that family map again so I can slow this down for you, okay? Donald J. Harris is supposed to be the son of Oscar Joseph Brown Harris. We didn't put Brown there, but Oscar Joseph Brown Harris, because his mother, you see there, is Chrissy Brown, okay? And Beryl Finnegan, Iris's daughter. But now it's starting to look like maybe that Iris Finnegan worked for the Brown Harris side. Like, what's going on here? Weird. But I said, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just take a closer look at the Brown side of the family, who he acknowledges. Like, we had slaves. Like, that was a thing. We owned plantations. We established Brownstown. He was very honest about that and forthcoming in his piece. So
wait. Her family named Brownstown, they owned slaves? Damn. I ain't know that. Wow. Oh, and my Jamaican people, I don't know if y'all did either. So this is a good video to watch. Like and share the video.
We're going to take a look at this family tree and we're going to focus on Christiana Brown. Okay, that's supposed to be Oscar Brown's mother, Miss Chrissy. And Donald has told us actually a lot about her in this piece, but we've only got this one picture. And like I said, every one of these pictures, for me, it just looks like a worker that is wearing her Sunday's best. And I'm not trying to be judgmental. I don't know. That's the way these pictures look to me. And that's not the way that he's presenting it. And like I said, he tells us a lot about Christiana Brown. He tells us that she's a descendant of Hamilton Brown, who's on record as a plantation and a slave owner, the founder of Brownstown. He tells us that it was her, that woman, who sparked his interest in economics and in politics, simply by him observing her and listening to her in her daily routine. Okay, so she was very into politics. He tells us that she owned and operated the popular dry goods store on the busy main street leading away from the famous market in the center of Brownstown. Okay, so she is a store owner, and he says in the piece, every day after school, I would go to her shop to wait for the drive home to Orange Hill after she closed the shop. She never paid much attention to the business of the farm at Orange Hill. Her sons took care of that side of the family business. Her constant focus was on the issues that affected her business of buying and selling imported dry goods, as well as the cost of living, issues that required understanding and keeping up with the news, a task which she pursued with gusto. He goes on to write, there was a daily diet of politics as well. She was a great admirer, okay, this is important, she was a great admirer of Busta, Sir William Alexander Bustamante, the chief minister in the colonial government and leader of the Jamaican Labour Party, the JLP. She claimed with conviction and pride to be, herself, Christiana Brown, a laborite, as the members of the JLP were called, and for the interesting reason that, as she argued, labor is at the heart of everything in life. Little did I know.
Hold up. They said something about JLP.
Farm at Orange Hill. Her sons took care of that side of the family business. Her constant focus was on the issues that affected her business of buying and selling imported dry goods, as well as the cost of living, issues that required understanding and keeping up with the news, a task which she pursued with gusto. He goes on to write, there was a daily diet of politics as well. She was a great admirer, okay, this is important, she was a great admirer of Busta, Sir William Alexander Bustamante, the chief minister in the colonial government and leader of the Jamaican Labour Party, the JLP.
Yo, you can't make this up, bro. You know, I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm gonna wait till it reaches the next part. I ain't even gonna say nothing.
LP. She claimed with conviction and pride to be, herself, Christiana Brown, a laborite, as the members of the JLP were called, and for the interesting reason that, as she argued, labor is at the heart of everything in life. Little did I know it then, what I learned later in studying economics, that my grandmother was espousing her independently discovered version of a labor theory of value, okay? That's what he says, end quote. I want to show you that guy again, who he says his grandmother idolized, and she loved him because he was a laborite. So I really focused on that. I was like, who is this guy?
She gonna do the research on him. That's why I ain't gonna say nothing.
Who is this Busta, Sir Busta?
Oh my God, bro.
This guy is very...
hey, shout out to O Speaks. This definitely ties into everything that I do and talk about over here. Politics. Let's hear it.
Important to Jamaican history, to Jamaican politics, past and present. He was a man that was actually born William Alexander Clark, and he would go on to become the first minister of Jamaica. He's an unbelievably shady character, okay? He left Jamaica.
What did she say? This is an American that did her research. An unbelievably shady character. Damn. Hey, labor rights. Y'all can't go for Candice Owens. She don't know nothing about it. She just telling the truth, bro. What y'all gonna say now? Hey, out of the press, I'm definitely sending you this video for you to go and clip this part up and tell the people. Oh my God. Oh, where all this information arisen from? She was researching Kamala Harris and her father, and then her father talked about somebody that was supposed to be his relative, and that person admired Bustamante, and then she decided to go and research Bustamante, and then she found out, and I quote, he's an unbelievably shady character. Damn.
Embarrassing.
He needs some milk.
Damn.
At the age of 21 to go to Cuba, and then there's no trace of what he did for 30 years. When he came back, he was a trained commie. He was ready to overthrow government establishments by...
Talk to him. Talk to him, Candice. Talk to him. Hey, man. Candice Owens is my new favorite girl, man. Candice Owens is my new favorite girl. You feel me? Shout out to CD. Shout out to CD. Mrs. Owens. Shout out to Mrs. Owens, man. Sheesh.
establishing all of these unions, these worker revolutions that could essentially reshape governments, getting people to riot. Okay, we call these color revolutions. The American CIA does this all around the world. You think there's like a normal uprising?
Thank you. Thank you. They do it all around the world, and they did it to Jamaica. Guys, pay attention. The Jamaica Labour Party is been infiltrated by the CIA. Siaga, Bustamante, all of them. What it do, Dimple D? Allegedly. And they've been causing havoc ever since. Y'all better pay attention. Man.
That's taking place in Ukraine, and then you find out, like, wait, why is John McCain in the middle of this, getting people to revolt, and then all of a sudden we are establishing someone as the president? That is the idea of a color revolution. So this guy disappears for 30 years, comes back to Jamaica, and all of a sudden he's organizing regular people to riot and to overthrow, and effectively people do this so that they can establish power for themselves. So the workers, the working class people, think that whatever they're saying to them is because they really care. You're not being treated fairly in this factory, and you need to have the minimum wage. It should be higher. You should be making more for your family. Yeah. And next thing you know, they're overthrowing people that are in power, and who they actually place in power are the people that organized it in the first place. It's just a good old-fashioned commie revolution. Something else of interest is that he also, aside from being arrested by the American government once for, doing commie things and staging these sorts of riots, he also called for the genocide of Rastafarians.
Yo, I just wanted somebody else to say it. Because you see, sometimes when you hear it from overseas or from, you know what I'm saying? People in Jamaica is gonna go, okay, shit. Maybe I need to look that up. It's called the Carroll Garden Incident. Google it. Google it. That man is responsible for the genocide of Rastafarians. And the JLP, it is the greatest humanitarian disaster violation in Jamaica. What they did to the Rastafarian community. Bustamante, he's the one that did that. All right.
Look at this headline. This is a headline of somebody going back and revisiting.
Look at this. What did I say? Bring all Rastas or alive.
All Rastas, dead or alive. Now, if you're American, you don't know much about what a Rastafarian is. You do know who Bob Marley is. Bob Marley is hate rape Rastafarian. You probably have a depiction probably of just Bob Marley. Like, oh, they smoked pot. Yeah, well, in reality, they were like this religious, socio-political movement of, you had Africans who, after being enslaved, really thought that their enslavement was intentional. Many people who believe this today, that they came from Ethiopia. They were actually incredibly peaceful. They came from Ethiopia, and they felt that they were the people that were being spoken about in the Bible, and that they were intentionally being, like, there was this intentional African diaspora all around the world to remove black people from their roots. And so these people, this guy, he gets into power, and they actually were incredibly effective in Jamaica in terms of organizing for themselves. They lived in their own encampments, and
man, Candice Owens is so informed. It's impressive. It's impressive.
They also had like agricultural unions, like they were growing crops and things of their own.
Always
they
farming.
were very well established.
Always.
And what ended up happening?
They believed in self-reliance. Facts.
Happening was this guy essentially said that they were dangerous because 6 of them got into trouble, and he said, bring me all of the Rastafarians, dead or alive. And what ended up happening is they started rounding up Rastafarians. I'll actually read you specifically what happened to some of those Rastafarians on his call, because again, he was incredibly powerful. It says on April 12th, Good Friday, Prime Minister Alexander Bustamante, because again, he went on to become the prime minister, ordered the arrest of all Rastafarians that are alive. Police and military forces entered working class neighborhoods and Rastafarian encampments, detaining Rastafarians and forcibly cutting off their dreadlocks. Many Rastafarians were...
Greatest humanity. Can you imagine, Miss Collins? Can you imagine all the brothers and sisters in this building that got their hair? Can you imagine they sending the police and soldiers after you guys and scalping you, basically, balling your head off? Can you imagine that? How degrading, how demoralizing, how defeated those individuals that had pride in their hair must have felt. This is the greatest humanitarian disaster, genocide, a buckle that any government in Jamaica has ever done to the citizens of Jamaica. This is why I personally, I've just had it. I've always looked at the JLP sideways because of that, understanding that history. And that's why I don't understand why any Rastafarian member that's a real Rasta in Jamaica would ever vote for the JLP, like ever. Do you know that they apologized to the Rastafarians and promised them reparations basically for their trauma? Because these individuals that are still alive still have PTSD about what happened to them in prison up to this day. I heard one of them give a testimony on IRI FM. That's a local station in Jamaica, Kabu. I think it's I don't remember the name of the program, right? But he gave his testimony, and I'm talking about a grown elder boo-hooing, bawling. And I'm not talking about basketball or money. I'm talking about tears running from that man's face. You could hear it in his voice. The trauma that he went through in the Carroll Garden incident. Wickedness. And this is why I always looked at the JLP sideways. I never took them seriously as an entity that I would vote for. Because my view is, and this is the same view I have on YouTube, and this is the way I move. If you did it to that person, you could do it to me. Period. So if I see you got a shady character and you move a certain way and you did that to that person, why do I think you wouldn't do it to me? That's why I don't F with certain people on here. Period. And will never, ever deal with them. Because that's my mentality. You feel me? Shout out to my brother Will Allen.
Tortured and killed, with estimates suggesting that as many as 150 individuals were detained. So the reason that he ordered for them to even have their dreadlocks forcibly cut off is because it held spiritual meaning for them.
That part. It's not just the pride of your hair. It had a spiritual meaning. This was their crown. This was their rebellion against the Babylonian system. The right to be. You talk about expression. The Rastas through their hair was their expression of not conforming to the system. Because they expect you to have a lineup, clean cut, with a tie and a suit on. That's what they push on you. I mean, if that's what you like, that's what you like. You feel me? But the Rastas was like, nah, B. The Rastas were so conscious, they don't even use certain soap because it got animal products in it. They were so conscious. Shout out to Stargirl in the building. Direct salute. Say that's why they put in Andrew to do their biddings. They don't love us Jamaican. I'm telling you. I always looked at them sideways, B.
Absolutely sick, absolutely disturbing. All of this true, and it's way worse if you look into the sky. I mean, there was like mysterious burnings of all of their crops, particularly when Winston Churchill was visiting. That's another rabbit hole you can jump down, but I wanted to...
Burning of crop. Yo, she really went in on the research. Man, I'm proud of Candice, man. I'm proud of Candice. Come on, man. Come on, man. Shout out to Candice, man.
To just tell you who this guy was, because he makes a note of this in his piece, Donald J. Harris, that Christiana Brown loved this guy. That was her political vision. She loved Bustamante. He just adopted that name, Bustamante. Maybe to make it sound like he was a person that was for the people, who knows. So we thought surely this powerful woman, going back to Christiana Brown, who was involved in politics, speaking about politics every day in her dry goods store, and she was so accomplished. She has these stores. She's, like I said, deeply seated, speaking about the Labor Party. She must be mentioned in the newspaper a few times. I mean, there's just no way that we're not going to be able to find her in a newspaper article. And indeed, we did find her. We found her, strangely, as a potential witness to election fraud.
What?
Christiana Brown taking the stand in a case pertaining to election fraud.
What?
Yes, it is about.
No, hold up. This is getting deep and deep. Wait, what? Wait a minute. Hold up. This story is, oh my God. This is going, whoo. This is going, whoo. I never expected this. Damn, Candice.
To get completely crazy. So I hope you guys are following along and this is all making sense so far. Stay with us. We're just going to throw it really quickly to one of our advertisers and get right back. You'll learn about the top rated precious metals company, gold. Right back into this.
Yeah.
Here is where we found Christiana Brown in the Kingston Gleaner. I am showing you the headline here. Witnesses claim they received money to vote for Mr. Allen.
Oh.
Remember, Iris Allen. Her last name was Allen. Okay, maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't, okay? So I'll tell you a little bit about this case because it's super long because it's actually a transcript, which is incredible that they used to print this in the newspaper, but it was a full transcript of the court case that was happening. And this was an election petition. So in 1944, Christiana Brown was made to testify because there was a political election between a guy named Harold Egbert Allen. Harold Egbert Allen was Busta's protege.
Oh,
eventually
my
went on to
God.
become his finance minister.
Oh,
Okay,
my
so
God.
he was the person that was running, and obviously you could imagine Busta wanted this guy to get elected, and he was running against a guy named T. Adrian Gray.
So you telling me allegedly that the JLP been buying out elections? Damn, son, that is some cold stuff, boy. Oh my God.
Embarrassing.
Candice Owens just exposed the JLP dark history. Oh my God.
Well, Harold did, in fact, win the election. And remember, Christina, according to Donald J. Harris, was allegedly obsessed with Busta. So surely I'm thinking she must have been very happy that the Labor Party protege, Busta's protege, won. Well, that's where it gets interesting because she was testifying because she apparently had witnessed some guy named S.P. Nugent paying her niece to vote for Allen. So it became this massive scandal because they were quite literally paying people to vote for Allen to get him into office. And so she told the truth to the police officer. She told the truth on the stand. And she just told them, yeah, I witnessed this exchanging of money. Her niece denied it. But I just think that that's quite strange because shouldn't she be happy with this outcome? I'm going, what's happening here? She's on the team of labor. She was devoting her life to speaking about this in her dry goods store. But then buried in this article is an explosive detail in the midst of all the testimony. When the judge asks her, Christiana Brown, what do you do for a living? She answers, I'm a washerwoman. I said, what's a washerwoman? A washer.
Something not right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Yo, what did I walk into, bro? The what?
Washerwoman is a woman who quite literally washes, just what it sounds like, just that simple. It means that her job was to wash the clothes and the sheets and to hang them out to dry.
Just like she thought from looking at her picture. But the way how the dude is talking about her, Kamala Harris' dad, it don't make no sense.
Now let's again bring up that photo of Miss Chrissy that Donald shares, okay? Sitting outside, like I said, looks like a woman who's wearing her Sunday best potentially for a picture. I never felt that this was a woman who was running a dry goods store and had an active life in politics. I rather did feel that we were missing something here. Why would Christiana Brown, in this case, tell the judge that she was a washerwoman? Maybe it's because Donald is lying about everything. I want to be very clear here. I believe that Donald did know Christiana Brown, the washerwoman. I believe that Donald J. Harris did know Iris Finnegan, the agricultural laborer, and her daughter, Beryl. But I do not believe that they were his kin. I believe they worked for his kin. So what does that mean? Well, it means that it's likely that whoever Christiana worked for, whoever's laundry it was that she was washing, were very politically inclined based upon the questions that were being asked of her in that examination. Again, we'll include a link for this on Locals. You can read this yourself. But the questions that they're asking her, it implies to me that clearly wherever she is working, there's a lot of political action happening around her. And if her niece was given money to vote for Allen, it was likely because Allen's political team knew that they worked for a family, that her niece worked for a family that supported Allen, right? You wouldn't go around.
And just for full context, this is very, very common in the political culture of Jamaica, where politicians pay influential individuals to buy votes because those individuals are either influencers and control a certain amount of people, and they could tell them, yeah man, vote that way. So, damn.
With cash, giving it to these low-level workers on a farm if you weren't sure the people who were running this farm were friendly to your campaign. So that made me go, okay, that name, the last name Allen is at least familiar. I now know that he's connected to Bustamante. I now know that Donald is lying about even Christiana Harris. That's every single relative that they have presented a picture of. They are lying about what they do, and we have documentation of the fact that they are lying about what they do, that these were workers, and they effectively stole their identities and turned them into someone else. So I thought, let me look into this guy who was running, this Harold Egbert Allen, Bustamante's protege, so to speak, that had agents that were going around trying to rig an election with cash, allegedly. Allegedly. I didn't actually see what the conclusion of the case was, but I'm going to guess.
This is what I'm saying. That's why I said allegedly. All of this is allegedly. All of this is allegedly. Damn, son, bruh.
Given the amount of power that Bustamante had, that he won the election and that the case was just shut down. So again, I'm gonna show you this guy again, this Bustamante guy. I started looking into him, and there's some curious facts that came up. Curiously enough, he was married to a woman who came to be known as Lady Idris Allen. Idris Allen. Now, this is pure speculation, but in my head, I'm just taking you through my thought process. I was like, that sounds like Iris Allen, but it's Idris Allen. Okay, whatever, but like that's who he's married to. And then I sort of came to the conclusion that actually that Idris Allen, you can show a picture of her again, I think she's the real person who raised Donald Harris. I believe that she is actually potentially Donald Harris's true mother.
Wow.
And that's why he doesn't speak about Beryl. He won't speak about his mother because I think that is his mother. And I'm going to tell you why. Idris Allen began her career as a clerk working at a dry goods store called Sherlock & Smith. She soon began working at a department supervisor of another dry goods store, Nathan & Co. Limited. And she worked and operated that store for 10 years. And of course, don't even get me started, she was steep in labor right politics because look who she eventually married. They stayed married for 10 years, or a little more than 10 years. They got married in 1941, and then he literally, it says, died suddenly in 1953. So they were married for 12 years. She fought extensively for social welfare programs, otherwise known as hand your kids to the state. She was a good commie. And let me tell you what's interesting about that. You see, I noticed this thing that it tends to be the people that fight the hardest for social welfare programs. When you look into their families, it turns out that they were the ones that owned the slaves. Why do you think it would be that the people that owned the slaves and clearly did not believe in social welfare suddenly became the most vigorous, loudest voices for social equality? These were the people that were establishing the unions. Does that make sense to you? You have to actually think like a slave owner for a second, right? So you're a slave owner, you're running a plantation, business is good. Like you are the boss of everything, okay? It's like, yep, don't care what's happening to the slaves, whipping slaves, turning out profit. And then suddenly the government says no more slavery. We're gonna pay you for your slaves like they did for the descendants of Hamilton Brown. We know that Kamala's family got what would effectively have been $11 million for their slaves. The British government did pay them for their slaves in Jamaica, okay? But you're not just gonna be like, cool, with having lost all of your power. You're going to organize and figure out how to maintain your power again. You don't just go, oh, well, now I know yesterday we were whipping you, but now I love you, slave. That doesn't make sense, okay? So slavery gets abolished, and in about 1883, the UK abolishes slavery. Or I guess the British Empire abolishes slavery, and that means Jamaica, and that's why they've got to release their slaves, and most of the slaves stay on. Like my grandparents' descendants stayed on and became like sharecroppers. They just worked the farms because they didn't really know what to do with their lives. And then those slave owners got together and started planning, like, how do we just re-enslave them in a different way? And that tool to re-enslave them is government. You get your family involved in politics, and then you tell those former slaves that you're fighting for their freedom, and all they have to do is keep fighting for...
No wonder they call them the Jamaica Labour Party. Damn. Boy, Candice, boy, you just uncovered a can of worms with your logic, boy.
For more governance. What is more governance? It's slavery. It's slavery. But you dress it up as freedom, you know? You're like, oh, social welfare programs. Like, we're going to have your kids. We're going to raise your kids. We're going to do this. We're going to offer you free handouts. And suddenly next thing you know, you're being taxed into oblivion. And all of your money, all of your earnings, you think you're working and you're independent, but your earnings are actually going to the very same people that enslaved you. So yes, I find it interesting that Idris got so involved. The descendant of wealthy slave owners from Barbados got so involved in labor politics and was really cared about social politics, wanted to make sure about the social welfare of people was okay. What does it sound like to you? This is what it sounds like.
What a bangarang. Yo, Candice Owens is totally, and I mean totally, exposing the Jamaica Labour Party's origins. Damn. Yo, this is wild, man.
Like to me. And then you have Mr. Christie still, who knows? I have no idea still don't know why we're referring to a Mr. Christie in this piece. I have no idea who it is. But what we do learn about Harold Allen, which I found interesting, so Idris's husband, is that he was also the headmaster of Titchfield Upper School. Now, if you remember a couple of episodes, I told you that the first time we can find a trace of Donald J. Harris, it's at Titchfield Upper School. He's listed, he's like 17 years old, and he's listed there. It's just a school photo, and his name happens to pop up as a 17-year-old. Otherwise, it's been very difficult to find anything on him. Do you guys understand like what I am piecing together here? It is my view today that Kamala Harris descends from a long line of wealthy slave owners who then turned into communist leaders with the explicit goal of overthrowing countries and overriding people's independent.
Damn. Yo, I gotta play that back. That part right there, the conclusion. Yeah, we gotta play that back. Yo, what?
Happens to pop up as a 17-year-old. Otherwise, it's been very difficult to find anything on him. Do you guys understand like what I am piecing together here? It is my view today that Kamala Harris descends from a long line of wealthy slave owners who then turned into communist leaders with the explicit goal of overthrowing countries and overriding people's independent freedom under the guise of offering them more freedom, more handouts. This seems to be the picture that we are painting on both sides of her family. Her mother came from a wealthy Indian communist family, okay? Now we know, or I have a suspicion, that her father as well came from a wealthy family of slave owners. I do believe that this is his true mother, not Beryl. And I'm going to again now show you a different chart. This is just me putting together what I think the true family tree is. And obviously this is going to take a lot more investigation, but I don't know about Shamala Goplin yet. I'm still investigating her. I'm really sticking with Donald Harris yet because I haven't felt like we've...
Let's pause and look at this chart. Wow. 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 Shamala Copalan. So her theory is Oscar Joseph Harris and Lady Idris Allen had Donald J. Harris. And then Donald J. Harris had such and such and had Kamala Harris. My God. Allegedly. What a tangled web we weave. What a tangled web we
answered all the questions, and the Lady Idris Allen thing opened up a huge door. But I think these are his parents. I believe Lady Idris Allen, who allegedly had no children at all, and you can see she lived a very long life. And he describes, the women who raised him lived a long life and says, oh, she died and it was very hard for me and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, Lady Idris Allen, if I'm correct, and that is his mother, that would be a massive secret. And it would be a massive secret we're hiding because it would mean that she essentially descends from communist slave-owning royalty. Damn. Who intentionally divided people and moved them across into different countries and put them into powerful positions. Now, again, this is my conclusion based on what I am seeing. There is just no way. There is no way, okay? If there was a way, I would buy a lottery ticket. That all three of the relatives that they listed, Christiana Brown, Beryl, and Miss Iris, that all three we can find records of. But we find them records as workers and not the owners that they allege that they were. Unless this is a case of stolen identity, unless we are looking at something that is so diabolical and sick that they stole the identity of all of them because they needed to create a family tree that would obscure Kamala's true heritage. And the lack of reaction, the lack of an explanation that we are getting.
Yo, come on, yo. Man, listen. Hey, they say that these people that they put in office were created. Allegedly. Remember when Obama came through and people was like, yo, so where you from, really? Who's your parents? Who's your grandma? There was all type of questions surrounding him. It was almost like he fell out the sky. You know? And there was a lot of allegations around that. What is going on with these Democrats, man? I'm just asking. You know.
Something not right, my wisdom warriors. Something is not right. Tell about them.
Now I'm not gonna play the entire video. Y'all gotta go watch the rest of that. Shout out to Candice Owens for the research. Hey. Man, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I believe this exposes the JLP government. It exposes Kamala Harris's family tree, their integrity. It's just too many questionable stuff surrounding the origins of this individual. And the fact that they're lying that she's black really pisses me off. Because they're catering to the Jamaican people and saying, oh, she's for the immigrants. And I'm like, my Jamaican people, what? This, what they're doing to America as leadership, you would not want that for Jamaica. So that can't be right. If it's not right for us, it's not right for the American people. We got to look past because something looks like it's benefiting us that want to run to America, meaning that it is something good that they're actually doing. No leader should open the borders to just everybody. No checking in like, are you a ex-military? What is your purpose here? Like, no screening, no nothing. So where's national security? Where's protecting the people that live in this country? That's like, I keep saying this. You have a home and you have a wall that surrounds your home, and you got dogs, you got pit bulls that if anybody should jump over, they're the first line of defense. And then in your house, in most houses, you got a man that is fully equipped to make sure that he protects the children and the woman of the house from any dangers that might pass those pit bulls. You feel me? So when I see a government open up the borders to everybody, and then you not only open up the borders to them, you give them money, you got people that is homeless overseas in America, that come from America, that used to be like army veterans, and they can't get the money you giving these immigrants. They can't get the place to stay. This place opening up for them to, bro, come on, man. And you telling me that that's good leadership, and my Jamaican people is telling me that that person is qualified to be the next president of the United States? You gotta be smoking something, bro. Ain't no way, bro. And I'm not saying that Trump is a saint. I'm just saying they've done so much things that is horrible. They make Trump look good. Period. They are so bad they make Trump look good. Make that make sense. How did they actually do that? I don't know, but they did it. Because Trump is no saint. But my goodness, when it comes on to making America great again and doing right by his people, his heart is in the right place now. He got 4 years and you saw what he did. So stop playing and demonizing this man like he's just the worst thing since sliced bread. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. It doesn't matter if somebody are you qualified for the job? What are your policies? What are the plans you have in place for us? And Jamaican people need to get serious with our politics too. Stop allowing these politicians to tell us stuff, and then when they go into power, like Andrew Holness, 100 days, we're going to do this, this, and this. And at day 90, you guys didn't see one thing that he said he was going to do happening. And nobody called him out and took to the streets and said, resign now because you lied to us. We wait till the Integrity Commission report for us to go, wait a minute. The hell going on? We got to do better, man. We got to hold our leaders accountable, man. This is bull-ish. Shit crazy. What the hell going on in the world, man? I can't believe this lady whole life is diabolical, man. Look at this. Man, tell me what y'all think in the comment section, because you heard what I think. Lord have mercy.